Hey everyone, welcome back to OCD Recovery's YouTube channel, where today we're going to talk about something that really affected me. I also think it's something that really affects a lot of the youth. Not so much people over 35. I do think a lot of the things we're going to talk about, if you showed this to people really over their 40s and 50s, they would think a lot of it is kind of quackery, funny. But when you're young and you're very impressionable, it's very easy to fall into these traps. A lot of the things that people say, and we're going to talk about the rigid beliefs in that bro culture with business and how it affects self-worth and belief systems when it comes to conditional self-acceptance. It's not really affecting your self-esteem the way you think it is. You just don't understand what unconditional self-acceptance is, understandably so. So again, it's very easy to be impressionable by these people. I know I fell into this a lot myself, and I work with so many people in the youth, especially young men, 25 to 30 years old. Again, not so much over 40. When you show them really the big names in the bro world of business that everyone knows, and a lot of these people say amazing things, and not to take away from their successes, they've done very well, but there's about 5 to 10 names that, trust me, we all know who we're talking about. They're doing a lot more cons, in our opinion, than pros for the youth. There's too many young men, specifically young men, who I talk to a lot of these girls, and they're like, my boyfriend won't spend time with me. He's too busy locking in. He's too busy not having fun. He's too busy not doing this. People think it's a good thing that alcohol rates and drinking rates have fallen off a cliff. And it's not us supporting alcohol, but this idea that like humans can't enjoy some beers and that everyone's an alcoholic, that one drop of alcohol is poison for you, is just simply ludicrous. I mean, think about it. You take a bunch of men that survived the battle in World War II, and they were celebrating, drinking champagne, smoking cigarettes. Look, sure, it wasn't the healthiest thing for them. A lot of them still live to 100 anyway. So, but this idea of perfection, living forever, opting out of everything, only working, grinding, and then most of people are not going to make 6 figures in their life anyway, in 1 year anyway. So, and that doesn't mean you can't strive for that. But this reality of like, if you just work hard and grind and work 15 hours a day, you're going to be successful, is simply just not true on any grounds whatsoever. And has so many more cons than not. So before we go any further, please subscribe, hit that like button down below. And the most important thing is it's not taking away the success of what a lot of these bro-ish entrepreneurs are talking about. A lot of them say incredible things, but if you take an overall view of what's happening to the mind subconsciously to people in the youth, not just talking to the men I work with, but also talking to a lot of their girlfriends or boyfriends or whoever, it's really bad. It's really bad. So I was on the phone with someone recently that was telling me about their boyfriend. And they've been together for years, and how he really beats himself up if he doesn't make enough money and meet his quota. And these belief systems have been around since, memoriam of time. But it's a lot worse today because of all these bro-tastic people who, if you don't achieve this and you don't do that, and they're bringing their tripods everywhere. And what's interesting about a lot of these individuals, the greatest things on earth are not really built by individuals per se. The idea may come from the engineer mind of the business owner, the people that puts things together, but the business is so much bigger than that. So these people are convincing young men to just work alone and grind. And you never really hear a lot of these people actually talk about the benefits of building long-term camaraderies and building a business. Actually, one of the only people I know to talk about this in recent times is Jim Collins, his book, Good to Great, which is one of the best business books ever written, in my opinion, and Ray Dalio's Principles, which I've read about 3 times. None of the other books that are talking about, we all know who we're talking about here, the big business bros, and they're never talking to you about building something greater than yourself almost. They're almost always talking about you, grinding, head down. Most people don't achieve greatness by themselves, if not anyone, in a business context. So learning how to communicate properly and work together with people while also having fun. That's why I love Ray Dalio's book, Principles, because he talks about the importance of camaraderie and also having fun. They went out, they drank with clients, they traveled around, they stayed up late, they had takeout food. If you said this to the average bro, they would say, oh, that's so unhealthy, you got to lock in and you got to take HRT and all this shit. So you don't have to do any of that, to be honest, because most of the people that we're talking about are actually extremely unhappy. If I was to get inside their brains, it would be navigating a whorehouse. We've got a lot of bad conditional acceptance there. But I'm highlighting this, but I completely understand where these people are coming from, because that was me my whole life. I struggled with this so much. So you got to be careful. You can strive to achieve greatness, whatever that even fucking means. But you can strive to achieve greatness whilst also having fun, while also going out and having some beers with your friends. Like, I go to Ultra every year and I have a blast. I don't, I go there and I smoke tons of cigarettes. I haven't drank in the last couple of years because I'm not paying $25 for a beer. But, I've gone to Ultra, 7 other times before that, 6 other times before that, and gotten annihilated. I'm not saying it's the healthiest thing, but a lot of people have fun when they go out and drink with their friends. A lot of bad things happen when people overdrink. Again, we have to highlight that. But, I would be very careful of anyone telling you to lock in, grind, don't have fun, ignore partners, forget having sex with women or men, whoever you're into. I mean, when you're young, and if you're not bound by, there's nothing wrong with this, but let's say maybe religious values that you care about, and you want to go out and you want to get hammered and you want to sleep around, there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing. The only thing holding you back from doing that in this particular scenario is this idea of, if I focus on a girl or a guy, or I'm not grinding 7 days a week and I'm not doing this, then I'm not locked in. I won't achieve greatness. I mean, God, you're just missing out on so much. We're going to have some extreme, serious cases of depression, not because of just this random hormonal imbalance. Of course, there's areas of that. But a lot of the people that just realize they get older, they didn't achieve what they wanted to achieve, even though they worked hard and they worked smart, and they now don't have anyone. Not saying that necessarily by itself has to cause depression, but most people who are doing this has no foundation in their belief systems. I don't really hang out with anyone like that anymore. Now, it's one of the main reasons why I left the bodybuilding world and I went to CrossFit and trail running and hiking mountains, because I didn't want to be around that bro culture anymore. I didn't like it after a while, and I made that decision slowly over a multi-year period until I realized that I want to be around more of a community, more supporting people that aren't basing everything off the way they look. And the business world is no different than that. Money this and money that, but I know people that don't make any money is very important. This idea that money is not important at all, when you hear people say that, it's another extreme. There are extreme benefits to having money. There's also extreme cons if you're not careful with your money. You gotta be careful with these black and white statements. But if you're a young man specifically and you're watching this video, and young female as well, this solopreneur life that you're striving for and putting everything on hold, I would consider you to evaluate, your life and why you want to do this. Are you okay with all the sacrifices that you're making? If you want to do that, there's no problem. But look at those belief systems behind it, because, it's really easy to see someone with their arms crossed and, they got a tank top on. They say something like, yeah, I don't even hang out. I can't even buy that business for $200 million. And, oh, yeah. This is just clown show type stuff. Just clown show. And that's not taking away from these individuals. Amazing work. You're great at what you do. But to say that if you just grind and work hard, these people that have this, people that make $50 million a year, which is so rare. You hear all these people, I made $50 million last year. Sure, if I looked at your books, you did not make $50 million last year. You hear a lot of people say, there are people that say they did. But this idea that everyone's making millions of dollars a year is just absolutely insane. So, but of course, there are people out there that make more than $50 million a year. But you need to be careful, because money equates to levels of happiness, but money usually doesn't lead to contentment in life without extremely good belief systems with unconditional self-life, other acceptance. So I just want you to be aware of this, because I can't tell you how many people come in and they're struggling with loneliness because of their belief systems, their behaviors about this. And again, if you want to dedicate your entire life to work and going for things, that's what I do. I dedicate my entire life to a mission. But I also like what Ray Dalio says. I like the relationships I build with the people on the mission with. I like all the people that I work with. I like all the hardships. But this is very different when social media makes it out to be. Working multiple 14, 15-hour days in a row, there's a couple realities of it. Most people are just, they're fucking just, what's the term? Lily dad. What's that term? They're just messing around. Someone fill me in. Lollygagging? Is it lollygagging? And people are just not very intentional with their time. That's number one, which it's not the end of the world. Number two is most people cannot sustain that for that long, because it's really hard. To work at that level over years and years and years, because you're going to have weeks and months and years where you don't see that much progress. And the self-satisfaction you have to get has to come from your ability to show up and put the work in every single day, regardless of how you're feeling. You don't hear a lot of people talk about that. Business, there's not many things in business that matter on paper in a list. What matters is applying them over an extended period of time, efficiently problem solving, usually with a team of people on a shared mission, like Dalio says. Obviously, I like Dalio a lot because I think Dalio has a great balance on this. Like, if you compare Ray Dalio's Principles, which is a masterpiece, to so many of these other, like, bro business books, they're just dog shit in comparison. There's just no depth to it at all. And that doesn't mean that those people, those bro type people, don't make really good points, but it's like when you see someone that has an extremely good point, but their delivery is very angry in the way they come across, they almost delude what they're saying, and they're not looking at the secondary and tertiary cons of the mission that they're spreading. So when you're spreading this mission of, I want kids to work and become millionaires, you are not looking at the secondary and tertiary problems of what they're sacrificing, what they're giving up. Do they even understand their belief systems? Do they even want this long term? Do they realize some of the pros and benefits of this lifestyle? So, Phil at OCDRecovery.com. Please let me know what you think. Again, if you want to do what these people do, there's nothing wrong with that. But I probably second guess your belief systems and your behaviors when it comes to all of this stuff. So, just something to think about. Enjoy the rest of your day.